Hello everyone. So you have no idea who I am. In all honesty, I was not planning to start this channel for another year or so, but you forgot to strike while the iron's hot. The Red Pill is the first official documentary covering the men's rights movement, and it's a film I've been looking forward to for a long time. Full disclosure, I did donate to its initial Kickstarter campaign. The film has premiered and is available in theaters through Tug. I find it a bit strange that video reviews of the Red Pill seem to be quite rare at the moment. I think it's because multiple Tug campaigns have failed to meet their thresholds, making it quite difficult to see the film. Since the showing in my area was lucky enough to succeed, I'll go ahead and share my thoughts with you. So, there will be spoilers in this review, as I'm going to discuss as many points as I'm able to recall. If you wish to remain spoiler-free, please come back and view the video at a later time. Our screening through Tug was in the middle of the work week in some random town. It was about an hour's drive for me. This probably made it very difficult to sell tickets. A weekend screening in a larger city would have been much more successful. Still, the turnout was quite good. I think we had about 80 tickets sold or so. Most of the people who came to see the film were middle-aged men and their wives. I'm guessing they must have been activated by being victims of the system. I was able to invite two friends. One is a self-proclaimed feminist. The other is a dirty casual who only took one diversity class in college. She also had an ex-boyfriend who killed himself. I encouraged her to see the film to better understand her ex's circumstances. I'll discuss their reactions to the film later on. So I have been following the men's rights movement on YouTube for several years. I am not new to the topics presented in the Red Pill. For me, the main draw of the film was a chance to see men's rights issues portrayed in a fair manner. I think the film's director, Cassie J, did a great job of doing just that. The central pillar of the film is Cassie's journey through speaking with men's rights activists as a feminist woman. This is shown through Cassie's narration and through her video diaries. I think it is a very effective way of diving into a foreign and complex topic while keeping the audience very comfortable. I also find it very commendable that Cassie seems to be a very perceptive, thoughtful, and open-minded person. When she feels a certain way, she searches for the source of her feelings, and she also looks to see if the other side would feel the same way if confronted with the same experience. I think that it's this quality that allowed her to make such a thorough and balanced film on this topic. Overall, the film plays it very straight. It sticks to topics such as family court, the male gender role, parental rights, domestic violence, feminist opposition, and the empathy gap. You hear both sides when possible, with statistics and personal anecdotes to support the discussion. This might be a bizarre thing to point out, but something that stuck out to me was just how nice it must be to be a professional feminist. The feminists Cassie interviewed were all sitting in gigantic glass office buildings, or in their private university offices. Most of the men's rights activists had to interview out of their own homes, or in Karen Straughn's case, in a bar. None of this was directly pointed out in the movie, but for the perceptive viewers in the audience, I think the difference in power and funding is quite obvious. I've seen criticism of the film saying that the feminists interviewed for the Red Pill were not good choices, or they did not do an adequate job of arguing for the feminist position. Well, I think that's on you. Cassie J said herself in interviews that she reached out to many feminist organizations and speakers, but very few were willing to speak on camera. She just used whoever was available. The feminists interviewed were described by critics as being too dismissive of men's issues. Well, I would agree with that, but it actually points out one of the primary issues faced by men: society being dismissive of men's problems. Also, there was criticism that the feminist position seemed weak since two of the feminist professionals interviewed were men. I would just like to point out, you're a sexist. You know why. And another point made by critics is that the film ignores the vitriol spewed by MRAs online. Women are bitches, feminists are stupid, I hope you get raped, etc. I would counter this by saying that the film ignores the online vitriol of feminists as well. Men are the root of all evil in the world. Men are all sexist and racist. Hashtag kill all men, etc. Those things are all just distractions, and your feelings don't matter. The film stays on point and discusses the issues, and that's it. While I found The Red Pill to be an excellent documentary, I did find a few issues with it. Primarily, it was an issue of the time allowed to discuss different topics. I understand that this was an enormous undertaking in the editing phase for the film, but I think it could have been handled slightly better. I was expecting the film to discuss suicide and circumcision a bit more than it did. It seemed most of the time was spent on anecdotes for custody battles and family court. While definitely important, I feel those topics were somewhat overdeveloped in the film, so it could have been pulled back a bit to make time for those other topics. Or maybe you could cut down on the transition shots of Cassie driving a little bit.
It's commonplace and it's everywhere, and the more you start to become conscious of it, the more you realize that it's there.
I don't lack sympathy for any of this.
A particular point of interest in the Red Pill's trailer was a shot of a man refusing sympathy from Cassie and leaving the interview he was having with her. I was hoping for this discussion to be included in the film, but unfortunately this was not explained in the final product. That bit came during the circumcision portion of the film. I felt that the entire segment was extremely rushed and underdeveloped. In fact, it came so fast that my dirty casual friend had no idea what was being presented. The film really should have taken a moment to show what circumcision is and why it is a problem. Strangely enough, The Red Pill began as an investigation into rape culture, but the film never really discusses the topic in depth. I think the film probably avoided rape culture and circumcision since these are the two most heated topics in debate. If the audience gets too heated, it would cause them to shut down to all the other points of discussion, so this is likely a calculated move. These topics do deserve to be fleshed out, in my opinion. Maybe Cassie would like to make a follow-up documentary covering those specific issues. This is just my personal approach to presenting information, but I think it's very important to also have a visual graphic or diagram when presenting statistics. At times, Cassie used statistics from interviews or from narration over dramatic footage, where I felt a diagram would have made the numbers more tangible to the audience. Another point is that I'll have to admit that I was a bit disappointed by the weak arguments put forth by the feminist side. I'm actually quite a confrontational person, so as I went into the film, I was really expecting like a good debate to come out from both sides, but this didn't really happen, unfortunately. And a spoiler alert, at the end of the film, Cassie declares in her narration that after talking with both sides, she has dropped her label of feminist. While this is a very powerful statement to make, and it makes sense to someone on the men's rights side, I think she should have spared some time to explain her choice. I get the sense from reading feminist critics of the film that the declaration left them cold without any understanding for her train of thought. My two guests both had very positive opinions of The Red Pill, which is very good, because they're both from demographics of people that need to see a film like this. Showing a men's rights documentary to a bunch of MRAs isn't going to change anything, right? It was disturbing. That's what my feminist friend kept repeating. She found it disturbing that there were these mountains of issues being faced by people and that they're being covered up. Despite being of the feminist persuasion, the men's rights issues brought up in the film all seemed legitimate to her. Then again, she's the smart kind of feminist. It was a lot to take in, my other friend told me. She's the dirty casual. Like myself, she hoped that the film would cover more about suicide. For her, the film was not quite what she was expecting. I think this was because she never watched a preview for the movie before going into the thing. But in the end, I think she was very happy to learn more about these issues. This other friend, not having studied in depth about feminism or men's rights, asked me after the film, why can't the two sides just get along and help everybody who has problems? I also wish this were possible. Unfortunately, the conflict in ideology was not discussed in the film in depth, and I was not able to explain all of this to her in a single night. And I think at the end of the evening, both my friends apologized for thinking I was some sort of woman hater. And you know how that can happen, but I guess it felt a little bizarre, but I was glad I was able to find like a little bit of redemption out of this experience. All in all, the Red Pill was a very positive experience that sparked a lot of good discussion. It's pretty much just a straight introduction to men's rights issues, which is a good place to start. It was good to see all these problems legitimized by a neutral party looking in. It gives me hope that men's rights is no longer an impossible undertaking. However, there is this lingering doubt I have after seeing the movie. It's from the fact that the documentary never discussed why these issues exist. Of course, the why of an issue is the most important part of it. In Cassie's interviews, you can see that there's still something lingering on her mind, and that's sort of, the explanation for all the things that she's observed. And I really do hope that she finds what she's looking for. So, I hope that this film encourages people to learn more about themselves and learn more about their human nature. So, the movie's great. You should definitely go see it. Get your friends and your family to see it. Definitely get your gender studies programs in your universities to screen it. And you can also support it on Tug and get the digital copies when they become available. I wish the director Cassie J all the success in the world. And I think I'm going to go out and look for her previous documentaries, and I hope that she creates more good stuff in the future. Also, good timing. I hear there's a Kickstarter project called American Circumcision. This is something I feel is direly needed, so I'm going to leave a link for this in the description below. Anyway, that's it for me. Leave a comment below if you have any thoughts. Thanks for your time, and look out for more content in the future. Take care, everyone.